Alright, this is a video for a METUS tutorial, and this is the two-player version of the game. I'll just be emulating two different players playing the game. So when you start out, say green will go first. This is the capital and the Astoria map. So they would just grab any of the starting influence adjacent to the capital. So they'll start here. And yeah, that comes across decently on the camera. And then they'll take their action. And for METUS 2 players, you do not need dice. There's no dice that are rolled and they're not needed for any purpose. So I'm just going to use these tokens. You'd use pawns. You could use dice if you want, but the numbers don't matter when you put them on these actions. So they're going to take the Chancellor action and gain one influence adjacent to an existing influence, is what this means. Iconography. It means adjacent influence of your own, put one next to it. So they're going to use that to jump over here. And then they're going to gain 4 gold. You also start with 5 gold each. So your gold ledger just is stored here. And we'll say green is on this side. So they would have started with 5, we'll cross that off, and then they go to 9 because 5 plus 4 is 9. So that's their turn. And then the red player will place their starting influence adjacent to the capital and then take their first advisor. The reason for the starting influence is that none of the actions, or almost none of the actions, would function if you didn't have already some influence on the board. He's going to go here, and he's going to take Spy Master, which goes here and here. And this is also the reason why you do your starting influence prior to taking your first turn, is because it kind of keeps the game balanced, where the first player doesn't have any option to use Spy Master because there is no opponent's influence on the board, for example. And then that's really the sequence of the game right there. So, you know, green took a turn with their starting influence, red took a turn with their starting influence. It would continue as such. So let's say go here. Green will take cardinals, so they're going to put 1 adjacent to anything that they already control, and then do it again, kind of round this corner, kind of block them in a little bit. And then let's say Baron he'll grab Baron. He can't optimize that now because green blocked him here, so otherwise he would have been able to use 3 adjacent influence to this area because Baron can't cross rivers, but he can at least still get 2 out of it while blocking it for his opponent downstream. So he's just going to go here, here, and then we have 2 left. So green will take this opportunity to grab some retinue. So he doesn't have any to deploy, so he's gonna grab 4. So I'll just go like this. Oh, green's over here, sorry. Green, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll go and fill in red's money is over here as well. 5. And then 1 action to take, so red will take it as they have to. Prince allows them to put 1 influence anywhere. So this means just the arrow pointing from nothing means put it anywhere you want. And then they get 2 retinue and a coin. So they're going to go to 6. 2 retinue and influence anywhere. And where do they want to put that? They can probably they can go over here actually and kind of use it as a wall to block off this region here. All right, that's an entire round. So then you go into the bidding phase. Players would, cover up their side of the thing. Let's say he's going to go like that, and red would, have their hand over here. Let's say that, and then you would reveal. And looks like green is going to take it 3-2. So green will spend the money. Go down to 6. I'll just store these vertically so I don't have to keep shifting orientation. So this goes down to 6. And they don't spend anything. And just for visual clarity too, you can just cross these out. Okay, and then these are reset, and green gets the first turn. If there were a tie, you would break the tie in order of these resources down the track. Initiative would be first, piety would be second if you're playing with that expansion. The difference between the piety map and the regular map is literally just this track. It's just a different kind of resource to compete over, different kind of victory point type. If there were a tie, then these ties would all be equal in the beginning because no one scored anything yet. So what would actually break the tie is the amount of stored retinue. So green would have won that tie even had red put 3. Okay, so next round. Let's fill out this area and we'll score it, and we'll see some of those, how that works. All right. As green gets to go first, they're going to take Spy Master to block off a potential Baron usage over here. They're going to go, and how do they want to corral red? I think they want to keep them away from this whole side of the map if they can. So they're going to do that. And then red will get to go. And how's red going to get around that? Red do here. Yeah, I think red takes cardinal, and they're going to go and expand this way to block them out of that area, or green's trying to block them out of this area. And then for the second use of cardinal, they're going to actually just continue building over here, because you do not have to use these adjacently. It just means place one anywhere adjacent from your own influence and do it again somewhere else. Quite useful. All right. Green will take Chancellor so they can maintain some money dominance. They'll get the 4 gold, and they'll just put the additional one here, more walling in. And then, let's say red doesn't want to fall too far behind in retinue, so they're going to go and grab these and just pull up 4 more. Okay. Yeah, green will take Prince to grab another coin up to 11, 2 more troops, and then place anywhere, but they're actually going to use this to place in this little spot here. So one last spot for Campestribus, is how that's pronounced, I think. All right, so this finishes this region, and green will has 11 total, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 1, 2, 3, 4 strength for red. Each influence is 1 strength, right? We didn't deploy any armies yet where they'd just be equal to their face value. Anyway, so when you're calculating score, we can just go from the top down, do it from the top down. So green completed the region. They get the initiative. Whoever completes the region gets the initiative, regardless of anything else. PD is done in the bidding phase, and we didn't cover that on the first round. We'll get into it later on the second bid. But PAD is not related to scoring the regions at all. It's involved in the bidding step. Next is adoration. So red lost. So their supporters here are going to be driven underground, and they're going to gain adoration equal to their strength. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Drink of water. Okay, so red gained their 4, and now dominance. Dominance is always all or nothing based on the region completed. So this is 11, green won the region, they get 11 dominance, simple as that. So we'll put this out here this way, past the 10. And that's a 4 because they had 4. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. Green will also just mark their control here, just to say, like, for ease of how many areas you control. In the 2-player game, there is nothing that counts controlled areas, but still it's just a nice reference to have that there, especially when you look at this versus it tying. So we're going to kind of skip ahead for a bit and create a scenario in which something would tie. So let's say the game continued, there's more rounds going on, and this would be the case later on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we'll say this is like this. So this would need to be a 5, right? So 5. Let's say later on, green deploys a 5 strength army into this region. So now 1, 2, 5, so 7 equal to 7, right? Let's say green also finished this region by doing so, by putting this 5 here, okay? So they're going to win the initiative for that. So they go up to here. This one's crossed out. Could have another marker We could use the other player's marker for crossing it out if you don't want to have a Sharpie or something like that. This position's now will never be marked again. So if we fall back in initiative, we'd go to this position. If we fall back in initiative again, we go to that position, and so on. If we were to land on this position again in the future, we'd actually just continue moving in whatever direction we were moving, right? So if we were gaining, we would go up this way. If we were losing, we'd go down that way relative to green. All right, so that's initiative. Next, adoration. Well, this is where it's different. We tied, so no dominance will actually be gained for this region. So being in the peacemakers of this area, we're going to get the pacification bubble at the bottom of the banner, and no dominance, but we'll gain adoration equal to our strength. So the 7 here would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So over here. And then this position again would never be used again for the rest of the game. The adoration doesn't move. So, a couple other things regarding scoring. In terms of strategy, them having there being maximum levels of any kind of victory point is also very relevant. For example, you might be in a situation where green has overwhelming dominance, or they're like really high up on dominance anyway, and you have some region you want to close off because giving them a bigger region is not going to matter as much because they're only going to gain part of the advantage of that region, right? If green is already here, there might be a situation where red actually closes off Tyrannus, giving it to green because they're only going to be able to gain a partial amount of the dominance they otherwise would have gained. And then so later on, when red starts winning, they're pulling them back from, an overall net reduced position of where they could have been, right? So sequencing of things like that matters quite a bit. When we use retinue, to jump back a little bit, when we would use retinue here, this would have been crossed off here. So we could just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to do that. Okay, that's most of the scoring I wanted to cover for 2-player mode. Piety is just really simple. In the development of the game, we kind of wanted the bidding mechanic to really be in the back seat of the rest of the game because the tactics of positioning and scoring and sequencing is much more interesting than the bidding. So we didn't want the bidding to really get in the way. However, it is kind of fun for if the bidding is more impactful, if you want to play it that way. And so that's where the piety track comes into position. Pretty much like if you have more faith of you thinking you're going to win the bid is kind of the theming around it. In our prior example, where this person had 3 and this person had 2, this person would have won 3 piety in the bidding phase. So it would have been 1, 2, 3. They would have gained, I'm sorry, that's actually backwards. 3 for green is over here. So sorry, this wouldn't have been used. So every time you win a bid, you are just gaining piety equal to how much gold you spent. And that can also reach these end zone conditions. So right, the lighting might be throwing that off a little bit. But these last 5 of each of these give you an instant win, right? So if you get, in the piety track, complicates it a little bit, but in the base game, 1, 2, 3, if you get any 2 of these 3 into the in zone scoring, you'll win the game. And piety would be, one of those as well. So different dynamic ways to win. And that's pretty much the 2-player game in a nutshell. So each map has different advisors. Obviously, dramatically changes the strategy of each one. Playing with piety or not dramatically changes the game as well. So I hope you have fun with it. Hope it's hope you have fun with it. Okay, so now we will cover the solo edition of the game. So for this one, we wouldn't use cubes. We would use dice. And here, a little curling going on here. There you go. There are different scoring mechanisms here. So we will jump right into it. Let's say we'll be green and the insurrection will be red. So I'm going to put my first starting influence here, and I will immediately put the red influence directly opposite from it. And that's a difference between the 2-player game and the solo game. You immediately place the opponent's influence when you place your own. and you take the first action. So for this we'll need dice. The dice values will matter. And I will pick a action of, let's try, I'm going to start with Spy Master and go here and here from my enemy's position here. Okay, and then the insurrection will roll for the insurrection action at the top. So I'm going to do that, and then go Demagogue, which is to place 4 influence, each in a unique region. And most of these actions don't require them to have any like play from positioning, right? Because the AI is dumb, right? You're controlling where they're going. So in exchange for that, they get to place a lot more influence than you do overall. And they get to place a lot more influence free of constraint. Like all 3 of these actions place them remotely, just anywhere they want on the map. So that's kind of the challenge with it. All right, so for Demagogue, we're going to do each in a unique region. Okay, so we'll put the first one here, that's fine. We'll put the second one here, and the third one, yeah, way over here. And then the fourth one will be, yeah, it's fine, we'll put that here. Okay, and then because there's already a 4 on Spy Master, this will also trigger the Spy Master on behalf of the insurrection. And that's not great for us. I think we probably already started writing this area off for them to gain. Basically, this advisor's loyalty is becoming unmoored from the state, and the insurrection is winning them over, is what that's supposed to represent. All right, so we take our next turn. We're going to pick another action. Now, we cannot take Spy Master because it's already been taken. We already took it, and had we not even taken it, it would also be blocked by the 4 that the insurrection had rolled. Okay. I also have 5 gold, and the insurrection starts with no gold at all. I think we're going to just go for the Chancellor, and we're going to grab 1 more here to tie this area up, and then gain 4 gold. So go to 9. The colors here don't matter for the gold. It's irrelevant. This is my gold. That's the insurrection's gold. Okay, so insurrection again will roll for their own action, and wow, they are stalking me. So they triggered a rally, and they gain 2 gold for every region in which they have more strength, or 3 if they control it. Control would mean it was already scored, completed, and that they had 1 dominance in that region. Okay, but they're going to get 2 gold for this area. We tied them up here, and we tied them up here, and that was the point of some of those moves, to block them from getting a lot of. If I had spread out the Demagogue in multiple regions, then they would be having more strength in a lot of regions, and this would be much worse. So they're going to gain just 2 from having more strength in this region. Okay, 2 would go here, and then they're also going to be able to trigger the Chancellor because it was already a die on the Chancellor. So now they're going to gain 4 more, and then they're going to place 1 adjacent to anything they already have. So we'll go here, and now they have 6 to my 9. Okay. Well, what do I want to do? I think I'm going to recall already. Yeah, so I'm going to do a recall action. And I just do that in lieu of doing an advisor action. It's always a choice I have, as long as there's at least 1 die here. You can't just recall with no dice on the advisors. And by doing so, I have 9 gold. They have 6, so I'm going to gain 3 morale. 1, 2, 3, and this is morale, and these will move towards me as I gain them, and away from me towards the insurrection as I lose these resources. Okay, by doing that, I do the morale check, just compare how much my economy is doing to theirs, basically, and then I take these die and make sure to maintain their value. Don't change the values. And then they become part of a dice pool that I can use for this phase. So now, because I have 2 sets of doubles, I do have some choices to make. I can tax or levy, so I can spend a pair of these to do an action if I controlled any region that I don't. So that's already out of the question. And then I can grab the vigor, basically seize the first player for the next turn here. And I can rally And now, so I can, since these are 6s, I could split them up and like do a rally, but then I'd be losing one of the pair, right? So now I don't get this, I can't use these on tax levy or vigor. So I make a choice there. Since I don't control anything, I think I don't even have more strength anywhere. Yeah, I'm losing here on strength, I'm tied here, and I'm losing here on strength as well. So rally doesn't do anything for me at all. So these 6s are better off spent grabbing the first player next phase, so then I don't just go directly into rolling for the insurrection and then beginning the first turn again. Okay, so then we're going to use this for a spy, and just grab, I'm going to spy from here actually, using this influence to go here. Okay, that was not too painful. And now we get to go first because I got first player. So how do we maybe complete this area quickly before they can catch up? I think we're going to grab Cardinal really quick and go here, and then extend off this influence again to go here, because you can chain them together as well. It's just one whole action of placing an influence adjacent to your own and then doing it again. Okay, hopefully I don't roll 3. Well, no, that's fine. It's not a 3. Okay, so each in a unique region. They're going to go here with that. 1, 2, we'll let them keep building up here. 3, that's fine there. And then 4 has to be a unique region, so they're going to have to spread out now. They're going to have to go here. Okay, and then they're going to block off the Spy Master from us being able to use it. And then what do we do? So I think we're just going to grab the Prince and go here. We could put this influence anywhere, but we're going to use it to complete this area. We're going to grab 2 retinues and another gold, so we're going to go to 10. Okay, and we completed Astoria. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to their 4, so we are going to win dominance of that. The entire 10 will be ours, but they're going to gain 4 adoration, so up to the 4 for them. And neither player had any armies here, so no one's going to gain any fear. The skulls. No one had any deployed army. Okay, and then they're going to go. So they're going to rally again and then block the Chancellor. So also I'm going to mark this as mine. So I use the right-hand bubble on the banner to mark that, green, me, the state, owns this area, controls it. So they're going to rally. They don't have this area. They have more strength here, here, and here. So that's actually going to give them 6 gold. So they go up to 12. 12 gold. Okay. And they block Chancellor, but they don't trigger Chancellor because there wasn't already a die on it. Okay. Well, if we recall now, we're losing a little bit of morale, but we don't really have a way to... we don't have any pairs, so we can't tax levy the one region we control. So that's also pretty tricky. However, if we take another action, virtually guaranteed that they're going to be able to trigger one of these actions again. But at least that gives us a pair, right? So that's the balancing act here. I think we'll just actually grab General, and I'm going to stock up on some retinue to see what unfolds. These are help us be more flexible. And they're going to roll. Oh, wow. That worked out quite well. Kind of, actually. Worked out well and badly at the same time. All right, so they're going to make Riot is kind of the most complicated one from the iconography. You find the areas with the most adjacencies of theirs, and then they form an army there directly. So thankfully, they haven't pulled up in a big C shape or encirclement of any area yet. So this would actually be a decent spot for a 2. And this also here would be a 2, just a 2 strength army. And then they're going to block Baron. Okay, so now we must recall because we have no option. These, without being able to take an advisor action, we have to recall. And we're not going to be able to do tax levy because there was no pairs. So we're going to grab all these. We're going to compare our gold, 10, to their 12. So we're actually losing 2 morale. We're going to gain 2 morale. And this morale track can get really wild because the gold can get so extremely unbalanced between the factions. Okay, and now we have all of these actions to do. We don't have a pair, so we're basically just triggering each of these actions once because we have a straight, basically 1 through 6. Okay, the order of this does matter. I could probably sit here and optimize it much more efficiently if I thought about it for a while, but just for sake of speed, I will move through pretty quickly. All right, so we're going to go through to spy. We're going to put green over here. I'm not branching out a lot that I could. Spy is like a half a spy master. It's like, oops, so I could use that to jump way over here or something like that, but we're going to fight them where they are. Okay, and then we're going to use consort. No, we'll use deacon next, actually. The 3 to do basically half a cardinal action. That's what deacon is. And grab, this is tied right now in Costra, so we're going to actually grab one more, and now we have more strength here. So if we rally later on, that'll become relevant. Okay, then we're going to do the captain action here. And actually, I think we're going to deploy with that. So here we can deploy well, do we go all in? I think we just go all in. And we're going to deploy a 6 over here. That just loses all my retinue to throw a 6 right here. And then we're going to do a duke. Grab 2 more Costra. And then we're going to do a consort and throw one up in Valet and also block access from this region if that were could be relevant later. And then we're going to rally. So almost always makes sense to rally last because we're going to have a better position after we deploy all our stuff. And we are now winning in Costra, strength-wise, so we're going to gain 2 gold from that. We own Astoria, so we're going to gain 3 from that. We're up to 5. We have 2 more in Valet, so it's going to be 7. And we also swindled this away from them, so we're up to 9. So we're going to gain 9 gold, so I go to 19. That's pretty good. But they're only 7 behind. That can change around really quickly. Okay. Later on, there would be some other factors. I mean, if you tie in the single-player version, same thing. You gain adoration equal to your strength in that area. We already saw how morale worked, right? It's the difference in economy between the factions, and whenever we do a recall action. And then fear would be, this area would be have something to do with fear. If this area closed off, all the rest with influence, then you just compare the numbers in that area to see who has more fear, who's striking more fear into the general populace, who's more feared overall, right? So far we have 6 to their 2. We would gain 4 fear in that context, if nothing, no other militaries were deployed there. And that's generally, I think that's about everything you need to know for a single player to get going. They're really swingy, really dynamic. I usually win or lose this by a couple points, but sometimes I just get destroyed as well. It can happen if you hit the wrong sequences of stuff or don't prepare properly, or could be very strategic and a lot of risk management, risk avoidance and stuff like that. Okay, I hope you have fun with it. Hope you have as much fun with it as we did, and thanks for watching.